Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in a couple seconds you will see today's video, which covers how to decide whether or not you want to go to law school. Now, I realized after filming it that I said 4 key reasons and ended up only discussing 3. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify that before we jump into the video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please don't forget to subscribe, click the bell so that you're notified of when I post, and leave a comment. Bye guys! Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're going to be covering how to decide whether or not you want to go to law school. Now, it's a loaded question. There's a lot that goes into it, but I've narrowed it down to 4 key questions that you should ask yourself. So the first one is employment. Now, for those of you who may not know, when you decide to go to law school, for the first 2 years, you're not really recommended to work, not even part-time, during the semester because your first year grades are probably the most important. So you really have to focus on doing really, really, really well. And that goes for your second year as well. It's just a lot of work, and it's just not feasible to work and try and get all your homework done. Some people may just be that good and can do it, but for most of the people, they kind of feel overwhelmed with the workload, so they decide not to work. So you have to ask yourself if that is something that you can do. Can you afford to take a hiatus from working? If you can't, then you have 2 choices. You can either do school part-time and work full-time, do both part-time, or not work at all. If that is something that you cannot do, then you really have to rethink law school and maybe rethink when you can do it. Some people, a lot of people actually, work, a couple years before they go to law school just so they can save up some money. That way they can maybe borrow less and finance their way through school, and it's less expensive. That's what a lot of people, they take a gap year between graduating undergrad and going to law school, and then they work, study for their LSAT, and they just create a little savings account for themselves where they put all of their earnings in, and they just give themselves a little allowance, for the week, and that way they're managing their money. So that's employment. Number 2, I would say, is financing. How are you going to finance your law school? Because it is really, really expensive, unfortunately. So you really have to come up with a solid plan for how you are going to finance it. Are you going to take out federal student loans? Are you going to take private loans? Which, really look into that, because no bueno. Federal loans, private loans, and scholarships. A lot of schools actually automatically consider applicants for merit-based scholarships, which is really great because if you submit your application on time and even early, you get first dibs. And well, you don't get first dibs, but you're just considered earlier, and you might get a little bit more as opposed to if you would wait closer to the deadline. Depending on what your situation looks like, you can do a combination of all 3 of those things, or you can do federal loans, or you can just do merit-based scholarships if you're a genius. But I really don't recommend doing private loans. I mean, I'm not an expert on this, but I just know from everything that I've read that private loans are just a little bit too risky because the interest rate is not fixed. They can get you into a hole of debt that you just, it doesn't matter what salary you make, it's gonna take years to pay off. So try and stick to federal loans and merit-based scholarships. And if you do decide to take a gap year and save up some money, you can do a combination of those 3 things. Now, the third thing that is important to think about when making your decision is, how do you want to mold your career? What do you want your life to look like? And how does law school fit into that picture? It is true that being a lawyer is a demanding career, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, depending on what you want your career to look like. If you want to be a private practicing attorney, then yeah, your hours are probably going to be a little crazy. You're probably not going to have all that time to socialize and, you know, all of those things that people look forward to in their adult life. If you decide to go into the nonprofit world, again, you might have to be putting in a little bit of work. But I mean, from what I have seen in the nonprofit sector, people actually really enjoy it because they're doing work that they love. They're doing work for people who really need it. And they still leave at a decent time, you know, to pick up their kids from school or go do extracurricular activities with their kids, which is really nice. So there are different ways that you can mold your career, and you can do that research. You can look up people that, you know, inspire you and see how they have molded their career. You can look up different, you know, career paths that lawyers take. And another thing is, you don't necessarily have to be a practicing attorney. If you graduate law school with your JD and decide not to take the bar exam, then you can go into the policy route, you can go into the teaching route, or you can go into the consulting route. So there's really a plethora of ways that you can mold your career depending on what you want from your life. It sounds corny to ask yourself, well, what do I want my life to look like? But it really is important for long-term happiness, and just to make sure that you are doing it for yourself and doing it for the right reasons, and not doing it, you know, just to go through the motions and become a robot, because no one wants to be a robot. So yeah, guys, those are the 3 main criteria that I think are really important to ask yourself when making the decision of whether or not you want to go to law school. Of course, there are so many other criteria that I'm probably not thinking about right now, but if you guys do have any criteria, leave them down in the comment section below, and, you know, let's share advice, let's share ideas, and yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching. Next video will be something along the lines of, I've decided to go to law school, now what? And we will be diving into all the different things that you need to start doing, LSAT, lsac.org, making up your list of schools, all of that good stuff. So stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video.